Hello, Dawgpound South campers. This is the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Steve Gill. A lot of people didn't see that Super Bowl coming, but my impressions were, man, I would love to see Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter on the same defensive line. I would. You got to admit, it would be pretty scary. But anyway, as the saga of Myles Garrett continues, he did an interview on ESPN yesterday morning. I found two things he said very interesting. One was that he indicated that he and the Browns front office were aligned on a winning strategy. In essence, I'm paraphrasing, I know. So if you both agree on what the front office is going to do to make 2025 like 2023, then what's the problem? Then he also said he would do whatever it takes to get traded. Well, I hate to tell you this, people. There ain't no whatever it takes. He signed a contract extension worth $125 million, 100 of it guaranteed with a $50 million upfront bonus. Not going to happen. The Browns are still, if they trade him before June 2nd, if they trade him before June 2nd, they are still in salary cap hell for the next 2 to 3 years. And even if they do it after June 2nd, they're going to be in cap hell. You can forget about Nick Chubb ever signing. It's good to see both him and David Njoku and Jerry Jeudy out there saying, let's go. Nick Chubb saying he wants to stay in Cleveland. David Njoku saying that what he and Denzel Ward and January Myles Garrett, I don't know what's going on with February Myles Garrett, but January Myles Garrett was happy and even said yesterday that they agree on the plan moving forward. He agreed on their plan moving forward. So what is he looking for? Well, like I wrote in an article over the weekend, the saga of Myles Garrett, you can find it on Fans First Sports Network. I think he wants the power that an NBA superstar has over a franchise, an NBA franchise. And in the NFL, that just doesn't work. You can't do it unless you're a quarterback, and even then it doesn't work. Look at Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. They're getting rid of him. They can't take it anymore. It was a failure. So no, he's not going to have a seat at the table. He's been told, and he said in the interview yesterday, he agreed with this strategy. A lot of people are missing out on that. I mean, it makes no sense. He's getting terrible advice from his agent, and the best thing he can do for this franchise is sign a contract extension. The Browns have a contract with him for the next 2 years. And if they want to, they can slap a franchise tag on him the next 2 years after that. So he could, in essence, he could be stuck in Cleveland for 4 years. What good does that do? It does no good. Other players on this team, they weren't surprised about him going back and forth, stay with the team, has to be traded, because apparently that's what he does on a lot of subjects. That's what I've been told, that players have said, yeah, he gets wishy-washy, and that's what I would call it, wishy-washy. But they all were totally shocked by that little press tour he did on Radio Row. I mean, every one of them. And a lot of them are feeling betrayed, as is the front office. And I don't blame them. This going public crap needs to stop by Myles Garrett. He's doing himself no good. He's turning fans against him in droves. So, Myles, stop it. Be quiet. Talk to the front office. Figure it out because you're not going anywhere right now. Let's take a quick break. All right, let's get back to the other subject I've seen on social media. Aaron Rodgers, no. Browns aren't interested. No. We just went through a major circus with Deshaun Watson, and they have a plan to get rid of him. Why in God's name would you want to bring Aaron Rodgers into this? His play would be better than any quarterback they currently have on the roster. But why do you want the sideshow? Again, they're not going to give he would dominate. He would want to make the moves he wants, not what's best for the Cleveland Browns. So forget about that. Bye. Go retire. The good news about it is some team who might be interested in Kirk Cousins, if he's released, or Daniel Jones, might take a flyer on Aaron Rodgers, and that cuts down on the suitors for Daniel Jones and Kirk Cousins. So I'll take that. Also, I just don't see how the Tennessee Titans. A lot of people are going to pay attention to what they're going to do at number one, because it does affect the Browns. And no, the Browns aren't going to trade up to number one. They need a quarterback. Tennessee desperately needs a quarterback. And the thing about Tennessee is most of their business people and front office people, I'm not talking about the talent, the new GM and all that stuff. Most of them still live in Houston, Texas. Now, the Houston Oilers and currently the Texans, they don't have enough air in the room because of the Dallas Cowboys. And that's why I'm looking at the Titans to stay at one and take a quarterback, because they need to splash. They need to splash more than anybody, because right now near the end of the season, nobody was going to games. I had mentioned this before. I saw TV ratings for each NFL team. They were dead last with 5.61 viewers per game. That's if you're a city with an NFL franchise, you should be the number one show every week you play. That they should be the number one rated show every week they play. It is in Cleveland. As bad as the Browns are, people still are watching. But as the Titans, they need a splash. Abdul Carter isn't a splash. A quarterback is the splash. Number one overall pick. So you might say, well, Travis Hunter, no, that's not a splash. Cam Ward or Sanders is a splash, especially Sanders. I would not be surprised they'd take Sanders. So that's something we all need to consider and talk about. Okay, so finishing up, no on Aaron Rodgers. Myles Garrett right now isn't going anywhere, because I can't imagine a GM to destroy his own team to accommodate a star player who's getting terrible advice. Myles needs to just shut up. Will this be resolved before the combine? I would hope so. Combine's later this month. Free agency starts March 10th, and signings start 4 o'clock Eastern, March 12th. You got the tampering period between the 10th and the 12th. You got the illegal tampering period at the combine. So I hope it's resolved by then. One other thing, I had mentioned on Thursday night's show that I might be of the thought process of taking a quarterback at 2. I'm still firmly Abdul Carter at 2, but I've heard good things about both Sanders and Ward. I'm waiting for reports after the combine. There's one major factor, and I've said this before, one major factor I'm waiting for: hand size. I know it's silly, but both of them had a very large quantity of fumbles in college. Now, if the fumbles were due to something else, fine. Then you can consider them at the number 2 pick. But if the fumbles were because they have small hands, i.e. Kenny Pickett, then no, you don't take them at number 2. I'm sorry, you just can't. We have enough trouble with turnovers now, the Browns do with now, then why would you add to it? So that's it for today's show. I appreciate you listening, watching, following, and subscribing. We here at the Fanatical L's Network are just Cleveland Browns fans, just like you. We're wild and crazy guys. So thanks for watching. This has been the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans for Sports Network. And I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you, and go Browns.